All right, so cold calling, cold email, and LinkedIn, how to use it in the healthcare space, how do we combine them? For most companies, assuming your customer lifetime value is high enough, you should really be doing all three. It's actually very rare to find companies that are even doing one of these well. So when you combine all three, they really work together synergistically. The big determinant, of course, is how high the ROI is for the client. The lower the return on investment, the easier it is to get leads from other sources. But if you're working with a high enough ROI and you're doing outbound, it's usually these three things. So cold calls, they work really well with smaller companies. So we have a rehab and a healthcare offer that we run for a client, and we get most of the leads through cold calling. It's the easier it is to get a champion or a decision maker, whether it's getting their data and scraping it successfully at scale, or it's just if you call the business, how easy is it? That's usually the biggest determinant of how effective that channel is going to work. But cold calling, when it works, I mean, we're talking like 5 to 20x the volume of cold email, and it's actually cheaper. Cold email, I really believe that 50,000 is the cutoff. So everybody with an ideal customer profile, like a customer lifetime value of above $50,000 should be using cold email. It's the best way to reach decision makers for large deal sizes. It's less effective than before the sort of big short cold email moment in June, but the ROI is so massive that it doesn't matter. And the alpha a lot of times comes from just executing better than your competitors, many of whom are deterred or they just quit over the last few months. And then LinkedIn, it's good for a lot of things. So it's really good for getting intent-based data. You could use it as an adjunct to events or networking, and also to suss out the three different types of decision makers in larger companies in healthcare. There's usually the champion, there's usually the money guy, and then there's like the technical compliance person. You can target all of them separately. The sale is also a lot softer, but it relies more on the content and credibility of the sender and of the company itself. It's also tough to ethically ramp up volume as a channel from a technical perspective and from a client reputation perspective, because move fast and break things, that's not really a thing in healthcare. These guys don't want to take risks. So it relies heavily on eagerness and participation and the bandwidth of the client. So a lot of times when we're running LinkedIn campaigns, we either have to also run the content strategy, or we have a client who is very, very engaged for the channel to really take off and hit its full potential. So they all have a place, they all work synergistically together, and most large healthcare companies would strongly benefit from doing all three.